Go crazy.
Hello, my friends. I am here. How are you? How is it going? Hopefully you can hear me okay. The constant worry that I am just going live muted is my constant companion. It's Friday, and I'm happy about it. This was Ghost Pepper's last full week of school. They are having closing ceremonies today. He'll probably get home in the middle of our stream. And then most likely start his end of year nap, which is the traditional way that teachers spend the, yes, okay, you guys can hear me, the last day of school, because they're so exhausted by the time they get home that they just need to rest. Let me get all these things that I always plan to do before stream and just never get a chance to do. Let me get a document set up here for our story today. Whoops. That's not what I want. I don't want to save this as a template. That would be bad. Nice. This will be 255 shorts, free shorts for my blog since I started doing this crazy thing. before I get too far into anything, I should mention I've been bad about this. So let's at least take a hot second. Let me see if I can get it into... Oh, shoot. Okay, I don't want to show that. Hang on. Why are you like this? Why is this so hard? This is, let me just make it, I guess, slightly smaller, and then maybe it'll fit on the screen better. This is Careless Electronica, book 8 in the Celestial Serenade. This is going on sale on Monday. It is available for pre-order, so if you're already into the series and you're excited about the next book, you can go grab the pre-order, read it at midnight on Monday morning / Sunday nights. I can't embiggen the cover on Amazon yet, but check that out. Just do exclamation Celestial to check out the series page for the book. You can see all of the books, all of the lovely books here on the series page. And there we go. Careless Electronica, that's coming out on Monday. And next Friday, I'll try to be good about mentioning this next week. But next Friday, the first book, The End of All Things, this one, this one, will be on sale for free for the weekend to celebrate the new release. So if you're interested in checking that out, that's my latest release. That's what I've been up to. And today we're going to work a little bit more on Tales of Cryptonia. This is a homebrew D&D campaign that I started, I want to say about a year ago now. We've been on sort of a hiatus for the last few months. We haven't really been able to put our schedules together enough to get a session done, unfortunately. It's just been really crazy. I think I've said this like 6 times, but it's just been really crazy in the Pepper household for the last few months. Ghost has had so much going on, and sort of by proxy, I've also had a lot going on. So there just hasn't really been the mental real estate to do as much with Cryptonia as I'd really like to. And I don't necessarily want to stream my planning sessions, because streaming my planning sessions and posting them on my blog would be spoilers for my players, and I don't want my players to have to avoid my streams / blog / YouTube channel. I've wanted to, since I started doing this, I wanted to keep it spoiler free, so that if any of my players come and chill and hang out in the chat or whatever, they're not getting spoiled for what's going to be happening the next time we play. But I'm hoping things have already started clearing up. I can already tell that I'm feeling a little bit lighter and freer in the scheduling department. So hopefully I can start getting a couple session buffer set up for myself, so that we can get back into playing and my players can resume where we left off. Of course, the hardest part of any D&D campaign is always the schedule, so we need to change our schedule, and that's a whole wrench in the gears. But we have been doing lore building here on stream. We've been filling out the pantheon of gods for the Cryptonia universe. The core gods. There are, of course, meant to be dozens of smaller planets and gods and stuff that don't really take a ton of mention in the core lore, just because I'd have to write like 30 books in order to cover everything. But We've been working our way through the core pantheon. We've talked about the Celestial Mother, who was the creator of everything, basically the creator of life in the universe. We've talked about the Reaper, the sort of offset to the Celestial Mother, the sort of freer and keeper of souls of the living. We've talked about the Lord of War, who was initially mortal and was sort of chosen by the Celestial Mother to ascend to godhood as the Lord of the Hunt. And we've talked about Taldor and Quiach. So Taldor is the Seed Matron. She's sort of the galactic version of Mother Nature. She is responsible for the cycle of the seasons, for the awakening and subsequent dormancy of the cycle of nature and the cycle on each individual planet. And then Quiach, who is sort of a more destructive force, known to be the original patron of magic, sort of the person who has the ultimate spell book, has all of the secrets of magic written in his, secret book, has shared pages of it with the other races in order that they could learn arcana, and is known to sort of knock down the things that the Seed Matron builds. And then subsequently, because the two of them are locked in this endless cycle, from what Quiach knocks to the ground, Taldor, the Seed Matron, builds anew. And so we sort of have this endless cycle of life, not necessarily life and death, but creation and destruction. Again, it's sort of meant to mirror the seasons, the cycle, and not just the seasons, but the cycle of death and rebirth. So if you look at nature, if you look how the cycle tends to work, especially right now in our area at this time of year, it's forest fire season. So very destructive forces tear through an area and render it seemingly lifeless. But in the wake of a forest fire, the forest actually grows fresh. It grows new, and new life comes out of sort of that destructive cycle. So the idea of Taldor and Quiach is that they're sort of locked in this eternal cycle of what one creates, the other knocks down, but from that fertile ground of the destruction of the previous thing, something new is made. So I kind of want to write a myth about that. I've been trying to basically write little myths, they're not necessarily like narrative tales. They're not like a lot of my other shorts. I'm not really necessarily trying to get into a character's head and describe their thoughts and feelings or their actions here. These are more like little fairy tales or little fables that you would find inside a book. When I was young, we read Aesop's Fables, of course, for the real world. So stuff like that, just little in-world fairy tales that the players might eventually be able to find. So it's not something I do very often. It's not like the type of writing that I do very often. I've mostly only been doing them for these. But they're fun. So we're gonna try our hand at another one. I've been doing 2 shorts for each of the other ones. For each of the sort of creation myths, I've tried to show 2 different perspectives, 2 different, here's how the Celestial Mother's worshippers view the ultimate fate of the Reaper, and here's how Agas's followers view it, because they have two different stories about what happened. So I've been trying to do that with everything. Today, I think I might just do one story. Just one big, because the idea from the beginning, hang on, let me coffee. The idea from the beginning has sort of been that if you look at real world mythologies and how they're sort of put together, they tend to be amalgamations of a bunch of different stories sort of pulled together from different local regions. So the reason why myths tend to contradict each other a lot is because, I know I talk about this every time, but because the reason why a lot of myths tend to contradict each other is because they come from different areas, and someone hears a story and they're like, oh, that sounds like our local goddess, who's only slightly different. And so they sort of absorb that story, and over time you get these very prominent gods like Athena and Aphrodite. But the reason why they tend to react very differently in different situations, or why they have so many different types of things attributed to them, is because they were originally a bunch of different goddesses that just eventually all became Aphrodite or Athena or whoever. So I've very much tried to do that with this mythology. I've tried to take bits and pieces of little local stories, and because this is a mythology, a religion that grew out of the destruction of another civilization, it's even more hodgepodge, because you have only bits and pieces, only scraps of the original religion surviving, and then the new worshippers who have sort of caught onto this mythology and caught onto these myths have picked it up and taken it and added their own things to it. So I very much tried to make it seem similar to that. I'm basically trying to simulate this amalgamation of stories. And so that's kind of what I want to do today. I think it's going to be a little bit tough because it's not necessarily easy to make a story feel cobbled together. That's not usually what you do with a narrative. You usually want your narrative to feel coherent from the start. So doing something that feels a little bit hodgepodge is not quite what I normally do. But I want to basically take one big story that is kind of an amalgamation of all the little bits and pieces of rivalry between Taldar and Quietch, as if someone had gone around and collected all of the tiny individual stories from different places saying, oh yeah, this happened because these two gods were fighting, and just sort of having like their little notebook that's full of all the different things that these two gods have done while they were struggling against each other, and then creating like one, like, here's the ultimate collection of Taldar and Quietch versus. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do today. That was really long-winded, I know. I'm rambling. It's me, of course. This is what I do. But yeah, I think I hope some of y'all are looking out there and having a nice chill Friday morning. But before I get too deep down the rabbit hole, I think we'll go ahead and start with a sprint. I'm a little bit sniffly, so let me just take care of that, and then we will do, I think we're gonna do 20-minute sprints today and just see how my brain goes. Ooh. Okay, there it goes. It didn't like me laying something on top of it. All right, let's get... I have not planned a ton of this scene. Sometimes I try to like put together an idea of what I want to do for a scene, and then I have like a guide when I start writing. I haven't really done that today. I basically have just planned the first line, so I'm pretty much throwing myself into the fire with this one to just see what happens. So hopefully my brain is gonna get creative today instead of puttering out on me, but we'll see. I Was a Lover is an interesting name for a song. To look up how to spell my own characters' names. Hey, just another random person. What is up? How are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy that it's Friday. Just letting my brain randomly spawn a story here. Are you working on anything today? Just another random person? Or are you just chill vibing today? Hey, Xarin! How's it going? Sorry again that I missed saying hey to you promptly yesterday. I didn't see your message until much later. Trying to continue chapter 1 of the draft of my novel. Nice! Good luck. I hope the words flow for you today. Xarin, what are you up to? Pop in and out very randomly. I get that. I do that a lot too when I'm on Twitch. Gonna proofread for a friend. Oh, nice! And I hope I don't fall asleep somewhere because I ain't coping well with the heat. Oh, no! Yeah, Peter was in yesterday and said that it was still pretty hot. And I think Nell said it was still pretty hot where they were too. Hopefully it, like, cools down enough in the evenings or overnight to get you a break. But it's rough, man. It has just been so overcast. Today is the first time I can see the mountains in 2 days, which is nice. It was super overcast here the past few days. I work in 4 degrees, so the difference is intense. Dang. Thank you. I would appreciate some sun. I was saying yesterday, a friend sent me a picture from the beach. They had visited the beach and sent me a picture, and it was like the most sun that I saw for 2 days. I never figured out if it was smoke haze yesterday or if it was just way, way overcast, but today it's cloudy, but I can at least see, like, there's at least sun and I can at least see the mountains. So I don't think it's going to be like the most gorgeously beautiful day, but hopefully it's going to be not as drab and dreary as it has been, because it's been kind of rough. And I'm used to this kind of thing in the spring. We usually have like a really dreary spring, but it skipped that this year and went straight to summer. So it's really weird for the summer to be starting with all of this overcast and all of this like dreariness, because at this point in the year, I'm used to it just being nonstop sun. You grow used to the cycles of a place. But on, I think it was on Wednesday, it seemed like the sun never even rose. It was so overcast all day. Yeah, this year has been so weird. We had a little bit of rain after the thaw, and then someone flipped a switch and it was 28 degrees, and it was like, all right. I don't know how we went from it being chilly and rainy to instantly 28 degrees, but here we are. Angel Faye, hello. How's it going? Over here, it's normally overcast between 10 to 20 degrees, sometimes rain. Yeah, same. Like, our spring it'll usually get up to like, it's like 23, 24, 25. But then it'll drop down to like 8 overnight. So it stays generally cool and rainy. And then it's like, I mean, we do get a lot of someone flips the switch and summer starts, but not usually like straight from winter into like 28 degrees. That was insane. I was not prepared. I wanted 2 more months of hoodie weather. Vixen of Fiction, hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. Let's get shout outs. We're just wrapping up our first sprint here, but please let me know what you were working on today. Author E.M. Andwar, did I say that right? Welcome in. If I say anybody's names wrong, please correct me. It's a Vixen and Loki raid, thunderously raiding with the power of Loki's Barky Bark and the Funky Bunch. Aww. Hello, welcome in. What is up? Angel Faye, did you have a good sleep last night, first of all? And did you have some good word writing today? Amazing words, bad sleep. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Wrote a steamy scene. Ooh la la. Break for me. Have a great stream. Vixen and Vixen, thank you again so much. Enjoy your break. Have a great rest of your day. Atanchi, hello. I know the timer stopped. I'm just going to finish this thought. Alright, so we are at 804 words, getting this party started. I don't know if this is going... I don't know if this is going the way I originally planned, but it's interesting. So I'm enjoying it. Whoops, that's not what I meant to... I didn't mean to turn on an extra timer. Atanchi, what is up? Are you working on anything today? Almost every chapter has 2.5 pages, so this time I'm happy with how I rewrote the first novel and found the theme for it and changed its name. The new book cover would come along soon with my new website. Nice! Angel Faye! I'm so glad to hear that things are going well. Also, author EM, do you want me to call you like author EM or Antoire? Like, do you have a preference? Let me know. Are you working on anything? Let me know. Etchy, hello. I still feel like I say your name wrong every time. How's it going? Call her Esther. Okay. Thank you, Angel Faye. I like to make sure people are being named and addressed the way they want. I am currently working on, because I think most people here weren't looking when I did my whole big long ramble at the beginning of stream. I'm currently working on a short for my blog. This is also for my homebrew D&D campaign, Tales of Cryptonia. So I'm building out the mythology of my main pantheon, and I'm sort of writing a little side war between Taldar and Quiach, the Seed Matron and the Patron of Magic, who are sort of locked in this eternal cycle of death and rebirth. And so I've basically started the tale with a wall, because that seemed like a good place to start. And essentially, Taldar, the Seed Matron, has caused new plant growth to sort of claim this crumbling bit of wall. And Quiach, the Lord of Magic, is like, hey, wait a minute, that used to be one of my temples that you have just, like, taken and made your shrine. And she's basically been like, too bad, so sad, it didn't look like you were using it. So now Quiach is going to strike back at her, by razing to the ground one of her sacred groves. Because as I mentioned in the opening, it tends to be the cycle where the forest burns and then new life grows from it. So basically writing a bunch of back and forth little slights between these two gods to sort of encompass their rivalry, but also trying to show how it has to do with nature and how it's if you removed the gods from the story, how all of these things would probably happen anyway because they're part of a natural cycle. So sort of the idea of the myth that I'm going for. My name is Esther, but you can use whichever part of my username. Hey, I'm the same, first of all. Everyone's like, do I call you Striker? Do I call you Starborn? Do I call you Megan? I answer to everything. So, but I just want to make sure that everybody gets the name that they want. And if I ever forget what name you want, remind me. If you remember my romance novel, A Fire and Protection, I'm rewriting it now and changed the name. I do remember you said that you were rewriting an older novel. I think it's so exciting. I've done that a couple times myself. My first book that I published, Island of Lost Forevers, was rewritten from scratch at 1.2. And I'm glad I did, because it was a train wreck the first time I wrote it, but I'm actually pretty proud of the final result. I could probably do so much better now, because 10 years later, I'm a different writer. But I'm so glad that I went through the process because it made such a huge difference. Currently editing a video I'm sending to Vixen for her video for the AuthorTubers Writing Conference. Oh, that sounds awesome! I don't know much about making videos, but that is so cool. Today is my plotting outlining day for Camp Nano. Nice! Good luck! Good luck with Camp Nano and good luck with your planning. I usually don't do the camp months because I'm usually editing. And also I'm probably gonna be AFK for the first week in July. But I do always do Nano in November, and I've already done my outline for the book that I'm hoping to do in November. I think I have to go back and look over it and brush up and make sure I have everything where I want it. But I've already done some, oh my goodness, sorry guys. I've already done some pre-planning for that, so. Also, Esther, thank you so much for the follow. I think I missed thanking you for that, so thank you so much. Finished Act 2 and moving to Act 3. That's amazing. Cat Leo Writing, thank you so much for following. Welcome in. Sorry, it took me a second to read your name because my brain decided that it didn't say Cat Leo at first. Padget Farmer, hello, welcome in. Finishing my character edits today. Oh, nice! The theme is redemption and forgiveness. Oh my god, what am I writing right now is a big mood. Apparently in a raid, but I was off on a walk. No worries! Welcome back from your walk. I hope it was a good walk, and welcome in. We're just taking a break between sprints here. I'll probably pop AFK in a few minutes just to use the restroom, but then we will resume writing. When did I decide I needed to start from scratch? Oh gosh, it's a bit of a whole story, but I have been writing since pretty much 5th grade. I graduated high school 20 years ago, just to give you some idea of how long I've been at this. And after I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to write seriously. So I started hanging out with this guy, James Abendroth, whose name is also on the cover of my first 3 books, you might notice. And we decided to write a novel together. It was based on a dream that I had. We talked about it a lot back and forth, and we basically role-played it because that was the writing that I was doing at the time. And then we tried to go through and put it together into a novel, but I didn't really know much about writing a novel back then. I didn't really know how to plot. I didn't really know how to edit. It wasn't good. Let's just say it wasn't good. And so after a while, we put that on a shelf, and I went on to write Dreamers Do Lie, which was my first finished solo novel. And I still didn't really know what I was doing, so I started working on The Celestial Serenade, which is the series that I'm publishing now. And somewhere along the line, I sort of figured out how to edit. I'm not entirely sure how things clicked into my brain. But I started to realize that it's not just commas and like moving your commas and making sure your grammar is correct. That it's also about making sure the story makes sense and taking out anything that doesn't build to the overall story and making sure that you're not repeating a lot of the same information, and trying to make sure that every scene has the strongest impact. And so I sort of slowly over time realized that that's what I wasn't doing with my novels. That's why I was sort of giving up on everything out of frustration, was because I wasn't really knowing how to do any of that, and nothing ever felt like it was going the way I wanted it to go. And so once I kind of learned how to do that, once I edited through the first book in the Celestial Serenade and felt that I had the confidence to actually look objectively at my work, I went back to my older novel projects, and instantly upon looking at the first draft of Islands of Lost Forevers, I realized that it wasn't going to be salvageable in its current form. So I kept the plot. I mean, I didn't redo the plot. The plot itself was fine. I just kind of threw out all the words that we had used to tell the plot and started over from scratch, and sort of tried to recapture the spirit of what we had originally written, but in a way that I felt presented the story in a readable format. I do think I somewhere have the original draft of that book, and I do think you guys would all die if I showed it to you. I would die of embarrassment if I showed it to you. So I'm not sure the exact, like, moment at which I decided, I can do this better. But it was just kind of going back to something that I hadn't looked at in a long time and seeing it with new eyes, with more experienced eyes, and being able to say, okay, well, I know I'm a better writer now, so let me just do it again. I did kind of the same thing with Dreamers Do Lie. I eventually ended up rewriting the entire first draft, because the first one was just too rambly. I remember, I think the original first draft of Dreamers Do Lie was, I think, 250,000 words. And I went back and rewrote the same story with more content, objectively better, in, I think, 125,000 words. So I learned. That was a really long-winded answer to that question, but I hope that made sense. One thing I like to always remind writers of, in general, old and new, is that every time you finish a project, you are a better writer than when you started that project. It doesn't matter if it's your first project, it doesn't matter if it's your 20th project, you learn something in the process of doing that project. You learn something with each manuscript you write, with each manuscript you edit, and then this is why writers always feel like they aren't good enough, and why they don't do a good job, is because you're always better at something when you finish it, and then when you go back and read the beginning, you're looking at it with eyes that are more experienced than when you wrote it, and so you're always able to see what you could have done differently if you were writing it now. So to some extent, being a writer is about learning when you can actually improve something by continuing to work on it, and when it makes sense to just move on to the next thing, because you can rewrite the same manuscript forever and always improve it, but to what extent are you improving it, and to what extent is it worth the energy that you're putting into it? So I think it's really important to keep in mind that the stuff you write doesn't suck, it's just that you got better at writing over the course of writing it, and you see it differently now. And sometimes that's a good thing, because, I mean, for me, it let me go back and rewrite several novels that I hadn't really been able to tell the stories properly because I was too inexperienced. But in some ways it's a bad thing because it convinces you that the best thing you've written is a bad thing on your worst day, right? The one I send in had probably 7 different rewrites for the period of 6 years. Yeah, and that happens, you know? Everyone goes through a lot of drafts. And I've gone back and reread some of my older novels and cringed. Like some of my older novels that are published. Because I'm just a better writer now. But at the same time, I try to always look for the gems in it, right? Look for the things that made you fall in love with that story to remind you why it was good that you wrote it. Hey, R.A. Morley, how's it going? I'm actually in awe reading over what I just wrote. Nice! That's the best feeling, when you feel like you hit the zone and wrote something great. I didn't want to fall into that hole and fix what I have, but I'm already ready to start from zero. You know, I think what happened with Island of Lost Forevers was I was trying to rewrite it. Like, I was trying to work with what was there, and I was going through the original draft and highlighting the things that I wanted to keep, and it was so much time. It was so much time for like 3 or 4 paragraphs, and I was like, it would just be faster if I rewrite it. If you're making that many changes, if it's that drastic a change, and you're like, I could speed through this if I just rewrite it, then definitely go for it. I am having a fabulous day. I hope you're having a fabulous day as well. It's Friday. I'm very happy about the fact that it's Friday. I'm expecting Ghost Pepper to be home probably in about an hour or so, because it's a half day. It's the last day of school and it's a half day. So I'm like, he's gonna come in here any minute now and take his end of school year nap. Sometimes I forget to do that to find the joy and the original joy in the project. Were we talking about cringe older work? Yes. Yeah, I have some stuff on my hard drive that if anyone ever came into contact with it, I would have to instantly die. I meant an Oz and what the actual hell is this insanity? That happens sometimes too. Is it good insanity or bad insanity? Is it I'll figure this out later insanity? That's a mood too. When I figured out what I did best was character and character interaction, I honed it on that to make up for how bad I am with pacing and plotting. I am definitely good with the really emotional stuff and less good with the action stuff. I've had to learn because I decided to write epic high fantasy, and my main character is a dual sword wielding energy channeler, and there has to be action scenes. I've had to learn how to write action scenes, and I struggle with them hardcore. But give me a scene where my characters are having just the most emotional conversation in the world, and it gives me life. I thrive on those. I bawl my eyes out, but it's like, yes, this is what I'm here for. Now I can read through my work and be like, wow, it's pretty good. Who wrote this? Oh, I did. Nice. That is a good feeling. Stars like my character's a dual wielding energy Chad. He kind of is. Look, Domrit is a total badass, and I'm cool with it, but I have to make him look like a badass, and sometimes he's like, okay, so this is what happens in this scene, and I'm like, how do I describe that so that it makes sense to people who aren't me? How do I paint that picture in somebody else's brain? I don't have the vocabulary for this. Also, he plays chess, which I know nothing about, so that's totally fun. Hey, Conquest, how's it going? Yeah, action scenes have always been really rough for me. Ironically, I edit for an author who's really good at doing fight scenes. Like, he writes them all the time very fluidly and never struggles with it. And that has in a lot of ways helped me, like seeing how he handles his fighting scenes and sort of the ease with which he puts them together has helped me learn to do the same thing. And of course, I've, helped him infuse some of the more emotional stuff into his work as well. So it's funny how it can be a symbiotic relationship. That's why beta readers and read exchanges and like critique partners and all that kind of stuff are so important to the writing process. I was always worried handing off a piece with an action scene to an alpha beta reader. Same. Oh my gosh. But it always came out okay. Yeah, my beta readers in my more recent novels are always like, your action scenes are so dynamic and they're really exciting and I love them. And I'm like, you guys would not say that if you knew how horrible they were. How many times my rough drafts are steel clashing on steel and then I skip past it because I don't know what else to write. Or a lot of bursts of gunfire and I'll figure out what they're actually shooting at later. Lord of the Rings weekend? So busy. Ooh, what's the Lord of the Rings weekend? The biggest help was reading the first Witcher book where it felt like the author was making order out of chaos of a fight. Yes, I read a lot of... Ironically, one of the things, I don't actually really like the Redwall series. But ironically, reading it really helped me learn how to write fight scenes because the author has a very particular way of writing fight scenes with short, curt sentences, right? To help you feel like you're in the action. And I learned a lot from that, even if I didn't always enjoy the plots. So yeah, anything, seeing good examples of things and seeing bad examples of things as well sometimes can really help you learn how to do it. New magic set. Oh, interesting. I have a friend who dreaded a scene she wrote because it was an action chase, but it was such an amazing scene. For sure. Yeah. And I think you get the hang of it. Oh, writers are chronically overcritical of ourselves. This is why I say, always remember when you get to the end of that first draft or second draft or 10th draft, you're better at writing than you were when you started it. So you're gonna go back to the beginning, and the beginning is always gonna feel a little bit less good than the end because you were not as good a writer when you were doing the beginning. How do you even write action? Okay, I write my action scenes in layers because there's so much to keep track of with an action scene that I can't do it all at once. So my first draft is just very basic choreography, trying to keep track of my main characters, giving them some action beats that I can expand on later, making sure that I'm moving people through a logical thing from point A to point B, sometimes just making sure that it feels like it's long enough that something interesting has happened, and of course for me, filling in the emotions because that's really easy for me. And then that's it. My first draft action scenes don't tend to be great. In my second draft, I come back to that. I look at the places where I've really glossed over things or where it doesn't feel like people are in logical positions. I try to imagine it in my head like a movie. I try to see my characters moving through the choreography. I sometimes make my husband act things out with me so that I have like a visual reference. If I'm not sure if someone can move in the way that I've said that they moved, I get up and try to do the movement. And I fill in my details there and try to polish it up and make it feel dynamic and exciting. Then it goes off to my beta readers who hopefully tell me if it sucks, although usually these days they're just like, yeah, it's really good, really exciting. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then I still go over it again and try to make sure that it's working. Bobby punches Nick and then Nick kicks Bobby in the neck, leading him to choke to death. I mean, it starts like that. They definitely, my action scenes definitely start like that. I try to describe what it looks like. So my initial fight scenes usually start out as, you know, Dahmerin slashes at so-and-so and they dodge. But when I get to my final draft, I try to describe what that looks like. The sun glinting off the sword blade, the smell of blood in the air, the sound of boots scraping on stone. I try to show what the movement looks like, not just directionally, but sort of physically, if that makes sense. There's a lot. There's a lot to keep track of. There's a YouTube video on Accidental Genius of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm assuming POTC is Pirates of the Caribbean, and he goes over what makes the action scenes work. Interesting. I might have to look at that. Or you can watch an action movie. Exactly. It does help to have someone breaking down why the action scene works versus scenes that don't work. Totally. Yeah. And also the other thing that's hard is making sure you want to have enough action that it feels exciting and dynamic and, you know, gets the reader involved, but you also don't want the action to go on for so long that the reader gets bored with it. So you have to make sure, ooh, is this the video? Thank you. I'm gonna watch that this weekend. Thank you, thank you. That will be in my history now. Excellente. So yeah, you want to make sure that something is happening in enough time that the reader doesn't get bored, and just because when I watch action movies, and this is why I have a love-hate relationship with action movies, sometimes the action scenes go on for way too long. So I get halfway through the action scene and I'm bored. Just waiting for the action scene to end so that I can find out what happens next. You do not want to do that with your novels. You don't want it to go on for so long that the reader gets bored. So part of it is balance and making sure that something interesting is happening at enough, like at close enough intervals to keep your reader invested. There's a lot of good points that help with novels and screenwriting. Nice. One point I really clung to was make scenes do multiple things at once. Totally. I have a scene where I can't say too much about it because massive spoilers, but I have a scene where two of my characters are basically fighting to the death while one of my characters is trying to convince the other one that there is a very good reason why he should stop trying to kill the other person and actually work together for a hot second. And it makes the fight more interesting because the two characters on opposite sides have different motivations. And the outcome of that struggle is going to determine a lot of things that come after it, right? Give me that clicky clack. Hello, Woof. How's it going? Maybe it's not moving the plot, but we're getting character arc. Yes, and character development is really important to the overall story as well. It is Friday, and I'm super excited about that. I'm gonna take a quick break because I'm getting in the weeds again. I love these conversations, though. I love having these conversations. They're so important. It's so, like, already we've been given a valuable resource by another writer, so thank you. I really appreciate that. You can always learn more, even if you've written a bunch of novels already. You can always learn more about anything. But I love these conversations because it's so important to know how different people go through the process and where you can turn to find resources, and just the fact that you're not alone. Like, if you're struggling, if anyone out there in chat right now is struggling to write an action scene, you're not alone. Like, I dread writing action scenes. When I wake up in the morning and I know I need to write an action scene, I'm like, give me strength. So it's important to have these conversations. Absolutely. But we are here for productivity too. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to get up, stretch, run to the washroom, and refresh my coffee a little bit. And then we're going to do another sprint. We're doing 20-minute sprints today while I work on this epic battle between gods. But of course, don't feel like you have to stop discussing just because I'm popping AFK. Please feel free to keep talking among yourselves and I will catch up as soon as I get back. Also, if you, like me, have to take medication, make sure you've taken it. Take care of yourselves, guys. Very important. I always sometimes need reminders as well. So this meat sack that you're driving, unfortunately, doesn't take care of itself. It needs maintenance. I will be back momentarily. I'm back. I may have just threatened to throw my Fitbit in the garbage because it stopped measuring my steps. And then miraculously, while I was standing next to the garbage can, tempted to take it off, it miraculously registered my steps. Miraculously. If anyone's wondering how I deal with my technology, we used to live in a house with a loft, and I regularly threatened to my laptop that I would throw it over the railing if it didn't behave. Ultimate showdown! It is a legendary showdown, as a matter of fact. We are writing the legend right now. 13 chapters to go until I reach the end. That's awesome, Angel Faye. If I can find it again, I'll put a link to a really good What Made Kung Fu Panda work vid, because that hit a few points as well. Oh, the Kung Fu Panda series is one of the few series where I think all of the movies are, like, equally good. Usually, when you have, like, a movie series, there's one or two that you're like, that one wasn't as good, but, like, then they came back with this. Kung Fu Panda was just so good all the way through. Woof, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. I've got that Friday feeling, of course, of it's Friday, why can't I just turn off my brain and do nothing today? But I'm feeling pretty good. Tomorrow, my husband and I, Ghost Pepper, or Ghost Pep as Apple calls him, tomorrow we are going to a local restaurant to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. 20 years of being married. Our actual anniversary is the 21st of June. That's smack in the middle of the week. And I didn't realize that this weekend is Father's Day, so it was a little bit difficult to get a reservation, but we basically got a mid-afternoon reservation at one of our favorite places tomorrow. So we're having brunch in the morning and then a big lunch, and it's just going to be fabulous and amazing. So thank you, Angel Face. I'm really looking forward to that. Of course, I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm planning to eat a lot of dairy tomorrow. So, we all know Ghost's favorite place is Taco Bell. We're not going to Taco Bell. We're going to a local place called The Keg, which I think is a franchise, and I think they do have some of them in the States, but I've heard that the ones in the States aren't as good. But we're going to a steakhouse. I'm going to get steak and creme brulee, even though I am lactose intolerant. And I'm going to have a twice baked potato, which also has sour cream in it. So I'm going to have my pills with me, and it's going to be a fabulous time. And then I'm going to roll home and not be able to move for 3 hours because I'm going to eat so much food. But yeah. It's gonna be great. 20 years. I can't believe it doesn't feel like it's been 20 years, but it's been 20 years. We basically just ordered a replacement for the dining room table that we have had since like the year after we got married. So we're finally evicting our old circle glass table that has been with us for far too long and is rickety. It's not like it's unsturdy, but it does that, like, if somebody leans on one side of the table, the other side of the table shifts upward a little bit kind of thing. So we finally got a wooden rectangle expanding table so that we can do hosting now that the pandemic is over. And I'm looking forward to that arriving later this month. So, heck yeah. But yeah, that's happening this weekend. I can't believe my birthday's at the beginning of June and our anniversary is near the end of June. So I can't believe we're basically already that far into June, but here we are. Here we are. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to switch my brain back into productivity mode now so that we can do another sprint. Drink some coffee. French vanilla coffee. French vanilla coffee today. It's not like super high quality. It's like the cheap stuff, but it's pretty good. right. Let's get some clicky clacks because I know Wolf wants some, and I know people want some focus time. So I'm gonna zip my lips and do some tippy tap typing. Alright, I've failed 3 times to spell lightning now. I'm looking for. Apparently my brain has decided it doesn't spell today. It's Friday, it's okay. Thanks, Whiff. Appreciate. Luckily, my spell checker keeps catching it, but my brain is just like half asleep on at the wheel here. Dad had shoulder surgery. My tongue didn't want to say that. Shoulder surgery Monday, and he needs encouragement. Oh, I hope he's recovering well. It sounds like he probably is going to need physical therapy, question mark? To get his range of movement back? A couple years ago, pre-pandemic, my mother-in-law was in a skiing accident and tore the ligament that's under your knee, which can be really bad. So she instantly called her doctor, went and got it checked out, started doing physical therapy and everything. And it was a really long process. I think most of a year, because she had to do some stuff ahead of time before they could do the surgery, because it had to be healed enough for them to go in there. And then she, of course, had to do recovery after. But she has her full range of movement back and everything. So sometimes it takes a lot of time, depending on what type of injury it is. I know I'm making some assumptions, but depending on what type of injury it is. But hopefully he'll be able to get everything working properly again. Bree, how's it going? What is up, my friend? I think I just spelled that exactly the same. Oh my god. Why is my brain like this today? Okay. There we go. I had a really good phone interview. That's great. I hope you hear back. I hope it's good news. I'm having that Friday morning feeling, but I'm doing pretty good otherwise. We just broke a little over 1,000 words here for the stream. We're writing an epic showdown between two of the gods, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying putting it together. So yeah, it's the last day of school for my hubs. I'm expecting him home anytime soon to start his end of school year nap. Hey, Dystopia, Utopia, Autumn, how's it going? Been working on my project for my coffee page. Is it like Ko-Fi or coffee? I guess it's supposed to be coffee. I know Ghost Pepper uses it. He never can tell me how it's pronounced. I've been working on my project for my coffee page for friends to enjoy. It's turned into a psychological thriller. Nice! Ooh, that sounds like fun. Coffee, I think. I think so too, but I feel like Ghost Pepper always says it like Ko-Fi, and I'm like, I don't know. I like your setup for your overlay. I may do something similar for future streams so that my words aren't too readable for others on the stream. No worries. They're bigger. The words are a bit bigger today than I usually let them be, because if you guys can read it today, I don't so much mind. When I'm doing novel stuff, I make them much, much smaller because I don't want them to be readable, much to Woof's dismay. But yeah, if you guys see anything you like on my stream, totally copy it. I'm totally cool with it. I'm actually going to be working with a friend of mine to maybe refresh my overlays a bit, and I'm hoping that I can actually get like a proper like clicky clack camera frame, because I know I've just kind of used what's here. I'm sorry, Woof. But I can't let you read things before you're ready to read them. You will know the story out of order then. It won't have the impact it needs to have. Still haven't found a setup that I like yet. I have a nice overlay, but not sure how I want to show off myself. It's hard. Like, my stuff is a little bit thrown together. Mostly everything that you see on my stream was given to me by friends, which I am eternally grateful for. Victoria, lovely friend of the stream, made these overlays after my first stream was basically just a camera with no frame, a Word document, and a Post-it note. My lovely friend Victoria offered me these gorgeous overlays, and I adore them. But I am starting to feel like I need something a little bit more custom, a little bit more specifically designed for, because now I've played around with streaming it for a while and I've kind of learned what my groove is and what my needs are. It feels like it's time to sort of do something a little more specific, a little more branded. So I'm definitely in the process of processing all of that so that I can talk to a friend for some design needs. I am also, because this came up before, I am hoping to put together some merch that you guys can buy. My husband has a merch store already, and we've talked about just using the same one instead of setting up two separate ones, so that like all the fees are coming from the same place. So one of the things that I'm planning on doing today is actually going through and finding some royalty-free stuff that I can use to polish off the t-shirt ideas and stuff. Because when my husband set up his merch store, I remember he had several, like if you look at my emotes, because I want to use several of my emotes for my shirts, if you look at them, you'll see that they cut off at the bottom. So when Ghost Pepper did his merch, he did have an artist go in and finish off bottoms for several of his, but his emotes are little ghost peppers, as you can see, and so putting in like the bottom of a ghost pepper is fairly easy. I don't want to go back to Mumbles and be like, hey, can you draw a whole second half of a person for my emotes? I know she would. Like, I know she absolutely would, and I would be happy to pay her for that, but I feel like what might be a better idea is to get some little flourishes. Yes, Ghost paid someone to finish off his bottom. Clip it, send it to Ghost Pepper. There you go, Woof, you're welcome. Do you need a clearer one for the blurb? Hang on. Ghost Pepper paid someone to finish off his bottom. There you go, Woof. That was for you. So yeah, I think a better solution would be to get some nice flourishes, some little like circles and stuff to put the emotes in for my shirts. So I'm gonna be working on that today. I'm gonna be looking at options for that. Because I also already need to go through some stock photos today because I need to start getting the stock photos that I want to use for the first Everyone's Child book, because it's already time to do that. So my hope is that I can go through and find all the stock images that I need for that, and then we can actually put the cover together on stream. But so I'm starting to process a lot of that stuff. I will be taking the first week in July off. I probably won't do too much stream-wise then. But I am probably going to have to take a little bit of an extended hiatus in August, because my schedule just isn't going to accommodate a lot of streaming. We might do one a week if we can fit it in. But I'm hoping around that time also that that's when I can go in and rebuild all of my scenes with maybe some new overlays if they're ready by then. Do some stream maintenance things that I've kind of been putting off and just polish everything up and get it all looking really nice again. So just so you all know I went down a total rabbit hole, total random tangent, but I do have some quality updates that I want to make to the stream and to like the overlays and just things in general. I do have some things in the pipeline. I'm slowly learning how to do more and more with OBS and with stream elements and all that kind of stuff. And I know our friend Joe uses a different bot for his stream, which I'm thinking about picking his brain a little bit to see if I can add some more stuff, because I really want to find a way that you guys can use your channel points or something to trigger things to happen on the stream. They have to be silent because I don't want to interrupt the focus, but I want ways that you guys can like make emotes or like designs or whatever pop up on stream. I want some more things that people can sort of interact with. I want to create a way that you guys can like shout out your accomplishments as well. So like if you're doing a sprint and you're like, I wrote 300 words, then you can make it pop up on the stream that it's like, you know, username wrote this many words or whatever, so that we can all like celebrate our accomplishments and stuff. So I have a bunch of stuff that I want to do. It's just finding time and knowledge to do it. But now you guys know that I'm like thinking of you, and I'm thinking of all these things that I want to do. Been planning chapters of Project Elemental, dual POV, first POV with romantic interest, Coda Jude, Ghost Girl love interest, and Emerance. I love those names. Emerance is such a cool name. I hope the planning has been going well. It sounds like you're getting psyched to actually dig into the manuscript. Slowly getting back into streaming again. It's more so finding motivation. My mental health has been really spotty. I understand exactly what you mean. And honestly, some people get energy from streaming, and that's great. But I'm definitely one of those people. I also get energy from streaming, or I wouldn't do it. But I'm also one of those people where it costs energy for me to do this as well. So if you feel like you don't have energy before you turn on the camera, you're not necessarily going to instantly get energy from turning on the camera. So it does make sense that if you're not feeling in a headspace where you feel able to do, you know, to be in front of people or to interact with people, that you need to take a break and you need to take time for yourself. I've definitely struggled with that on and off this year as well, and I'm sort of learning how to balance like what tasks I can share and what tasks I need to basically do off screen, and that has helped considerably. But I definitely think when I started this, I had no idea how long I would end up streaming, or even like what I really needed to do streaming. And so now that it's sort of turning into a longer term thing, I do think it's time to say, hey, like what are the actual needs Like what visually do I need to improve the stream? What are some things that I can get for the people who show up to my streams every day to make it a little bit more fun and interactive for them? So I'm definitely thinking about those things. It's just the writing has to keep going, so it ends up being a bit of a side thing. I'm on chapter 4, planning. Nice! Been so stressed out not having a job because I'm just completely broke. I haven't paid any bills. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's hard. I remember when we were basically living paycheck to paycheck, and there were times where it was like, how much shitty 25-cent ramen can we stomach this month? And what are the things that we absolutely need? And when your life takes that much effort and organization just to get through the day-to-day, it's really hard to have energy for anything else. So I totally get it. I'm glad that you're slowly getting back into streaming, and I hope that like you continue to feel able to do that. Sometimes I can't stream to help me keep distracted. Sometimes I can stream to help me keep distracted, but I've just been mad lately and I don't really want to stream. Yeah, no, it's totally understandable. And one thing that people have told me when I struggle with whether or not I should stream at certain times, the thing that people always tell me, and it really like resonates, is like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to do what's best for you. Feeling obligated to be on the camera is probably the worst reason to be on camera or be on stream, because it's harder to be yourself and it's harder to do the things that you need to do to enjoy the stream. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself first and prioritizing yourself. And my experience has been that the people who are regulars on my stream are always understanding if I say I'm too tired today, or I need a break, or I just need, to reassess right now. People are always the first thing that they say is take care of yourself. We'll be here when you get back. Ghost Pepper has basically not streamed anything other than D&D for almost 2 months because he's been too tired. He's been out of town 3 times, on field trips. He's had tons of end of the year stuff that he's had to get done. And he just hasn't felt like he's had the energy, and the entire community has been massively supportive of him taking care of himself, of him waiting until he feels like he can come back. So absolutely don't feel guilty if you need to take time off camera, because you have to take care of yourself. And it's hard to do anything for anyone if you feel like, you don't even have the energy to take care of yourself. So I know, massive speech again. I tend to be long-winded, but 100%, take care of yourselves. It's important. We are at 1,631 words. Let's see. I think I wrote a bit more that sprint. Where did I start? I started here. I recall now. Nice. So that was 863, actually about the same as the first sprint. And we're at 1,631. I'm not sure how much longer this will be. Another 800 words might do it. That would put us somewhere in the area of, I think, 2,400, 2,500. I'm not necessarily looking for a ton of length with these, and I think I'm getting towards the point where the myth has to have a point. So I was sort of comparing this story earlier to like Aesop's Fables or whatever. I think I'm getting on towards the part of the story where the teller, whoever in the universe is telling this story, whoever has like compiled this story together out of like the ether of all of these different myths, will be wanting to make their point about why the struggle happens. So I think I'm kind of at that point in the story, and then it should be really easy to wrap up after that. But I'm also just sort of letting my brain meander through this one, so we'll see. We'll see how much longer it wants to ramble. Oh, thank you so much. I adore you, Brie. I seriously do. Like, thank you. It just means a lot to me that I can have create a space where people feel like they can be comfortable and then they can have these conversations and do work. That's the main reason I'm here. And I have this conversation with friends from time to time, but I know that I look like I'm always super put together and that I always know what I'm doing and that I'm always organized. But that's very much an illusion. You guys don't see all the scatter and the chaos and the rough stuff that happens off camera. And some weeks it's not easy to get the writing done or even feel like I can be the kind of streamer that I want to be. But when I have days like this where, you know, people come out and we have these amazing conversations about craft and about learning and about self-care and all that kind of stuff, and where it feels like people are coming together and using the space for what I hope they'll use it for, it's great and it's worth it. It's worth all that other stuff that happens off camera. So it means a lot to me to have you guys here and to have you guys saying that you're enjoying yourselves, because that's what I'm here for. I feel like we all look like we're put together on social media, but we're all struggling. Truth. 100%. Like, and I say this all the time, and I say this to myself all the time because I fall into this trap too. Like, social media, streaming, all that kind of stuff, it's just a small portion of a person's life. It's just a small portion of what's going on with them, usually cultivated to be the good stuff. And so, but again, like, one of the reasons I'm here is because life is this whole complicated road trip that we all don't get a choice whether or not to take. And I just want to be one of the good pit stops. I just want to be one of the places where people can pull up, have a coffee, chat, feel like they're comfortable and valued and welcome, and then go back off to whatever else they have to do, feeling a little bit recharged. And if I can do that for a couple people while I'm here, then that's it. That's what I want. I think it comes with the writer and creative aspect. I'm glad I've come back around. Yesterday I saw you on and I was like, damn, it's been a while. Hey, I totally get it. You need time. And I appreciate you coming back in and saying hi. That's why I'm trying to show on my YouTube journey that, yeah, sure, we seem like we're put together, but I want to show you that it's not rainbows and butterflies. As a writer, we struggle too, and I don't think we talk about it enough. Same. And that's why I'm so willing to do, like, real talk during my breaks. Like, I don't want to bring the mood down, obviously. I don't want to be negative or scare people off, but it is important to talk about the hard parts of the craft of, you know, trying to live as a writer. Writing is my full-time thing, and it's not always easy, right? And I feel like being realistic about that and answering people's questions honestly and saying, like, I don't make a ton of money as a writer. I'm basically supported by my fantastic husband and able to do this, and having those conversations. Like, we need to be able to do that. People need to be able to be informed about the creative space. And so absolutely, I think that's so important. I think the more as well the more that we as people can look at other people as fully realized people and not just sort of the caricatures that we are on social media, the more empathetic people can be, and the easier it is for people to be sympathetic when people are struggling. If we all live in these bubbles with no idea what's going on with anyone else, then we just won't connect with anything, right? So, yeah. I'm gonna get up again. I'm gonna move around. It's been a while since I did some steps. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna pop over to the restroom, refresh my coffee, see if my Fitbit decides that it wants to measure my steps this hour. And then I will be back for another sprint. I'm hoping I can wrap this one up in one more, but we'll see. If we need another sprint or a half sprint or something, we can take care of that. I'm kind of just hoping I can force my brain to make a point with this story. Not that every story needs a point, but this story feels like it needs a point. So let's see if I can get my brain to do it. That's why I'm glad I've met everyone here, because then your writing and craft doesn't make you feel so alone. Absolutely. I kept telling my friend Mary to be part of this community too. It's nice that we have each other for support. Yes, absolutely. Writing can feel like you're living in a cave, and every now and then we gotta come out of the cave. And we also gotta drink and stretch and use the restroom. So I shall be right back. Okay, I am back. And we gotta hydrate. Nice, fresh, hot coffee. Just sending some cheeky texts to my husband. He and some of his coworkers are probably heading to the library after work today, which is what they call going to the bar. At Christmas time, they have a special book club, which is actually a alcohol exchange. But of course, they can't talk about that kind of stuff as teachers, so... but I think it's hilarious that he comes home and tells me that he went to the library, because he hadn't said that in a while. And so the other day he was like, we went to the library, and I was like, why did you go to the library? And he's like, I mean the bar. And I was like, just say the bar. You can say it to me. Yeah. He's asking me what I want. Sorry. I know. It's so super exciting. I went away. I came back, and now I'm just texting my husband. But he's like, what do you want? I've never been to the place where he is. I don't even know what they have. But I was like, I was just thinking of a dessert. Like, bring me something sweet, and I'll be happy. Because then tonight, when I'm finished with all my work, I can just be like... whatever he brought home, dessert for myself. But, yeah. Because I don't eat anything for lunch because I've got potato salad. So, 2,000 words! That's amazing! Heck yeah! Celebrate. The story is so fun and amazing. I can't wait to write it already, but I'm trying to map it out. That's hard when you're outlining and you just want to dig in. Didn't find the OG vid of why Kung Fu Panda fight works, but did find a couple of vids that have a section dedicated to the fight sequences. Nice. Let me open that so that it goes into my Histra so that I can watch that. Thank you. Sorry, I know I'm counting things. Pie, hello. How's it going? We got 2 more hydrates. I'm sorry to be so distracted. I didn't expect to hear back from my husband when I texted him. I don't usually. Partying outside? Heck yeah! Ooh, and another video to add to my history. Excellent. Kung Fu Panda, the greatest animated trilogy. I would pretty much agree with that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. Heck yeah. Let's do a sprint. Sorry about that. I know me being very distracted and not saying much and mysteriously looking at my phone and my calendar is probably not the most exciting. But basically, Ghost Pepper and I have been trying to put together, not a party, but a get-together, and we're trying to kind of time it so that it happens after the delivery of our new table, because we only have 4 chairs at our current table, and so so that means we can have 2 people over, and then the third person has to sit on one of our, bar stools, and we only have 3 of those. So the idea is we bought a table with 6 chairs. So the idea is that we have people over after we have the table, and we can fully extend the table and use all the chairs, and then we can have more people over before we need to start using bar stools. So it sounds like the plan is going to work out, and I'm excited about that. So he was a little unsure last night if people would be available during the week that I suggested, but it sounds like we might be good to go. So, heck yeah. It'll be good to break in the brand new table with having people over and serving food and drinks and having a good time. So, anyway, I gotta make my brain have a point with this thing. So let's do 20 more minutes of focus and see if I can end this little story. Or if my brain just decides to keep meandering onward. These I don't so much care if they're like super tight or anything, because they're just for my blog. And for like my in-game D&D world, like, it doesn't have to be the tightest of prose or anything. If this was a scene I was writing for one of my novels, I would try and keep my brain a lot more on track, but this can just be fun. And I do try to keep time in my schedule for just fun, non-serious writing, because that keeps me from burning out. So here we are. I was very distracted by the buildup of that song. Apparently the library is slow today. That might actually already be finished. That was unexpectedly swift, but I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think it needs any more. So I might do a little something else on my other screen while the sprint finishes if I'm done already. Heck, here I thought my brain was just being slow and pokey today, but there was actually, like... there was actually a point in there somewhere. Left for a bit, but I'm back. Welcome back. We are probably in our last sprint now, but we've got 8 more minutes of focus. I hope you are having a good day, whatever time of day it happens to be for you. It is just about lunchtime here. My husband has promised to stop at a bakery on the way home and grab me some nice treats, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He knows he is. But I tell him. I've sent him like 2 texts being like, you're such a sweetie. Found a song that basically embodies the idea I have in my head for my novel. That's awesome! I definitely have soundtracks for each of my works, and when I was writing Dreamers Do Lie, I listened to a lot of Camelot, especially 3 Ways to Epica, which is my favorite album of theirs. And when I was writing The Celestial Serenade, the first 2 books of The Celestial Serenade, I listened to a lot of Iron Savior, because their music was very in tune with the sort of ideas in the brain spaces. So I love that. I love having something I can listen to like get in the mood for my novels and stuff, and to relight that spark. that is going to be the end for me. Perfect. I'm happy with that. So that's 2,193 words total. And we started here. So that was another 562 in that last sprint. Nice. I'm gonna let those 4 minutes tick down. Made both my protagonists Spotify playlists, so whenever I'm rating a scene with one or both, I can listen to their playlist and get the right vibe. Yes, absolutely. I do stuff like that too. Although Domeran's playlist has gotten a bit out of control. I think there's like 8 hours of songs on it. And then I also tend to make like soundtracks. I try to find like a song for each scene and put together soundtracks for my novels. It's fun. I don't have a lot of time to do it these days, certainly not as much as I used to, but it's still fun. Off to bed, Angel Faye, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you get a much better sleep tonight and have a wonderful weekend. Please take care. I know, I'm doing a bunch of stuff off screen here, but I'm basically like Just confirming kind of the things that I need to be looking at today when I start doing my stock photo deep dive, in order to start putting together some merch stuff for you guys. So just getting my thoughts organized during the last little bit of the sprint there. So yeah, we are at 2,193 words total for stream. I'm really happy with this. I don't have anything to add. I didn't know where it was going for a while there, but it came together in the end, and I'm pleased about it. So yeah, this will eventually go up on my blog. I have started, I believe the Cryptonia stuff has started publishing. We are, of course, several weeks behind because I write these quite far ahead. So the Celestial Mother short, one of the first ones that we did, just went up on June 5th. You can see here on my blog. This is megancutler.net, as it says above there. This went up on June 5th, so we are quite a ways behind on them, but they are publishing, so this will eventually go up on my blog so that you can read it more clearly than you can see it on stream here. And of course, the VODs for all of these creations of these shorts goes up on YouTube as well. I try to keep up with those. They are often a week. They often take a week or so to get live, but they do go up in case anyone wants to see the whole process of those coming together. Oh, thank you, Conquest. Yes, unfortunately, we're gonna have to wrap up here in the next few minutes because I got to throw dinner in the crock pot and eat some food. So much as I would love to stick around, this is actually also all that I'm planning to write today. What I'm planning to do for the rest of the day is going to be horribly boring because it mostly involves deep diving some stock photo sites to look for cover images and stuff that I can start putting together merch for, which might sound like it's going to be interesting, but it's really not. It's a lot of me muttering at my screen and not finding what I want. Yes, we will be rating somebody. I have to see who is online. But I definitely would like to rate. Pass you guys over to someone else who is doing something productive. We could hop in on Comf's stream. Oh, Rose Evanstar is also on. We don't get to rate her very often. I like to raid Comf, but I also know that she's going to be wrapping up soon. I do get treats from the bakery. My husband is going to bring me a treat from the bakery. I'm super looking forward to that. One of my crochet buddies is streaming. Drop the name in the chat, just another random person. I think we might head over to Rose Evanstar just because I don't get to raid her very often. I don't think our schedules often overlap. But I would love to check out your friend who's crocheting. I can definitely go over there and drop a follow. Let me just make sure, too, that Rose isn't gonna wrap up, because it looks like she's at the end of a sprint, so... She might be wrapping up, actually. She is. Sorry, I know you're hearing another streamer, but this is because we're trying to do...
That happened to me Wednesday night, too. I was looking for someone to raid, and it was Edith and Liz, and she was about to raid, too. And we were both looking at raiding each other. We need to vary our streaming schedules.
Let's see. So she said, worthy advisor. I don't know if I'm following them. Let's find out. Ooh, someone that I don't follow. Heck yeah. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you guys. I've never really done the coordinated double raid thing before, so this would be super fun if we can get it. Let me bring this up. Because I love to follow crafting streamers as well. This would help more if I did a Twitch. If I didn't just randomly drop it into Google. Oh, nice. Sorry, I know you guys are hearing random stuff. It's because I'm checking who's around. I am learning about I'm gonna have so many new people to follow at the end of this. You loom knit? That's amazing! I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. I did learn to crochet when I was younger. My mom and my grandma were both really big into crocheting. But it never really took off for me. Like, I didn't really find it engaging enough. I do cross stitch. I do counted cross stitch. I have this that I'm working on. It's a bit hard to actually see the details right now because I had to move the hoop, so the hoop is going through a bunch of the details right now, but you can see I've started the outline of a fresh mug up here. It doesn't really look like much yet. And for some reason, like the challenge of what order to fill everything in and, you know, using you know, maximizing the use of my thread, for some reason, it engages me a lot more than crocheting. I guess maybe because I don't always have to do it in a certain order. Yeah. I love to see people crochet things. I mean, my friend Wolf crochets. He crocheted this. And the tentacle hat, the tentacle hat, the octopus hat that I wear sometimes. He's amazing. He clearly has the patience for it that I don't have. So I appreciate the heck out of people who crochet, because I just don't have the patience for it. Alright, we have apparently chosen an area to target our double raid. Oh, another writer I haven't met.
This is all, you know, transient. It's all ephemeral.
All right. Also, I don't think I mentioned this because, oh, okay, we may have decided not to do this raid. Alright, it looks like we might be heading over to Comf Comf. Because Comf Comf is amazing. Alright, so for those of you who haven't done a Comf Comf raid for me before, Daz, hello! We're actually wrapping up. Welcome in! We're getting ready to raid, but we're gonna first say hey to Daz. All of the raiding streamers are like wrapping up right now. James, hello, how's it going? Daz, how's it going? What is up? Raid Train, absolutely. We are actually trying to coordinate with Rose Evanstar to potentially do a double raid here. Oh, Comf Comf is back. just letting Rose know that I'm definitely heading over there. Comf is amazing. Not a writer, but is a productivity streamer. Super chill, super awesome. She does 4 50-minute palms, so pomodoros every day, with 10-minute breaks in between. Super chill, super comfy. She does all of her own emotes. If you see Burr on the stream, she's drawn all of the Burr stuff and all of the Burr emotes, and she's amazing and very comfy. So we're gonna head over there in a minute. Today we worked on Hero Forge, as I need the images for my stat blocks. That's awesome! I have only ever dipped my toes a tiny little bit into Hero Forge, and it has so many options and so many things you can do that I feel like I don't even know. I've really only like started the discovery process. That's awesome. I hope you had tons of fun. We did a little short that's gonna go on my blog eventually. Shade, thank you so much. I forgot to mention, I think I almost mentioned this and then I forgot. I think you guys may have pushed me over 600 followers today. Actually. $605! Holy man, you guys. Insane. Thank you so much. Everyone who followed today, one of you was the 600th follower. So thank you so much. That's amazing. I still am in awe that I have 100 followers, let alone 600. So thank you so much. But today we did a little short story, a little short sort of myth for my blog. It takes place in my Tales of Cryptonia universe that is my D&D homebrew world, and it's something that hopefully my players will stumble upon eventually. It's sort of the cycle of death and rebirth, the endless rivalry between the Seed Matron, Mother Nature type goddess, and the Lord of Chaos and Magic deity, who sort of take turns breaking down and rebuilding what each other do. Sort of that endless yin and yang that makes up the universe. So it was really fun. It was shorter than I thought it would be. It was only around 2,193 words, but it was fun. It was fun to put together. I'm looking forward to getting it up on my blog. I'm sorry that I can't hang around too much longer because I gotta throw dinner in the crock pot. So that it has time to turn into dinner, and I've got some potato salad calling my name. But for the new people, for anyone who didn't get to hear the spiel already, I'm Megan, aka Starborn Striker. I answer to Starborn Striker, Megan, or just plain Striker. I am a science fiction and fantasy writer. My main project is a high fantasy novel that takes place in a modern day world. And on Monday, the 8th book in my Celestial Serenade space opera will be available. So if anyone stay longer, hey. I don't know if I can nuke beef that is specifically supposed to be slow roasted. I don't think my husband, who is going out of his way to stop at a bakery for me, will be very happy about that dinner. But if you are into space operas, check that out on Friday next. Not this Friday, but next Friday. The first book in the series will be free. So if it sounds like something you might be interested in, come back next week. Check that out. Finished my first draft of my book. High five, James. That's awesome. That's amazing. Make sure you celebrate, because that's a big deal. Finishing any draft is a big deal. We are going to get ready to head over to Comf because she is getting towards the end of a POM, and that means that we're going to be able to talk to Comf and hang out with her. So let me get the raid calls up. If you have my emotes, feel free to use them. If you don't, feel free to use any other emotes. Bird Landing, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. If you came in on Daz's raid and you would like to use Daz's emotes to carry on that part of the raid train, please feel free to do so as well. I am sure that Comf would love to know. We were going to raid Rose Evanstar, but she is looking to raid as well. I actually popped into her chat and asked her if she was wrapping up and if who she was planning to raid. I'm not sure if she's planning on following me over to Comf. I think there's someone she's waiting to come back from AFK. But I was about to drop in on her and she was about to drop in on me, so we narrowly averted that. Yeah, no worries, Daz. I was talking in her chat a lot, so I wasn't talking here as much as I probably should have been. But no worries. So like I said, if you guys would like to use Daz's raid call when we head over to Comf, no worries at all, because it's all about spreading the love. So Comf will be up for a little over an hour, because she's gonna have another 50-minute palm after she finishes her next 10-minute break. And she usually raids also very comfy, very cozy productivity streamers. Very very similar to writing streamers, they just work on different stuff. So I follow a handful of them. I always find them very awesome. Rowan, hello. Rose, I hope you found a nice raid candidate. We're getting ready to head over to Comf. I don't know what my schedule is going to be next week, unfortunately. I'm unlikely to be around on Monday because those tend to be my heaviest work days. But I will be aiming for 3 streams. We're probably going to do another short like this on Friday for sure. Keep an eye on the about section, on the schedule section as well for Twitch, because I always update those on Sunday. Or just keep an eye out in the Discord or my Twitter, because I always shout out when I go live. Off to Video Game Land because Shoulder is done with housework. Enjoy Video Game Land. It's Friday. You deserve it. Have a fabulous weekend. And that goes for everyone who hung out here today. Thanks again, Daz, for the raid. I'm sorry that we are heading off so swiftly. I will see you guys all again soon. Take care.